This video is brought to you by the Paladin Learn History app. In 1650, if you sailed into New York Harbor, you wouldn't see a skyline. You wouldn't see the Statue of Liberty. You would see a tiny, muddy, dangerous village huddled on the southern tip of Manhattan Island. It wasn't called New York yet, it was New Amsterdam. It was a company town run by the Dutch West India Company, and frankly, it was a mess. I used modern AI to reconstruct the city as it actually was. Not a quaint colonial painting, but a gritty multicultural trading post where pigs roamed the streets, pirates drank in the taverns, and a wall was being built to keep the English out. This is 24 hours at the edge of the world. The day starts at 5 a.m., but not with the sound of traffic. It starts with the sound of livestock. New Amsterdam wasn't a city, it was a glorified farm. You wake up in a small wooden house with a thatched roof near the East River. It's damp. The island is marshy and the air smells of salt water, wood smoke and manure. You step outside and the first thing you notice is the mud. There are no paved streets. Broadway, the Herenstraat, is just a widened dirt path that follows an old Lenape trail. Pigs are everywhere. They run loose in the streets, rooting through garbage. In fact, the town council is constantly passing laws to stop pigs from digging up the fort walls, but nobody listens. By 7 a.m., the town is awake and it speaks 18 different languages. This is the most diverse place in North America. You walk down to the waterfront at Pearl Street, the original shoreline. Everything east of that today is landfill. You hear Dutch, of course, but also English, French, Portuguese, Spanish and African dialects. The Dutch West India Company didn't care where you came from as long as you could work. You see sailors unloading ships from Amsterdam, Curacao and Brazil. They are rolling barrels of sugar, tobacco and beaver pelts. This is the whole reason the city exists. Fur. The beaver pelt was the Bitcoin of 1650. Everyone was trying to get rich quick. By 9 a.m., you head to the fort. Fort Amsterdam stood where the custom house is today, near Battery Park. It was the center of government, but in 1650, it was falling apart. The walls were basically piles of dirt that the pigs kept destroying. Inside, you might see the Director General, Peter Stuyvesant. He's the guy with the wooden leg. He lost the real one to a cannonball in the Caribbean. Stuyvesant is trying to clean up the town. He stomps around, shouting at people to go to church and stop drinking, but it's a losing battle. He just passed a law banning people from drinking on Sundays during the sermon, which tells you exactly how much drinking was happening. At 11 a.m., you walk up the Herenstraat, Broadway, towards the edge of town. And the edge of town is surprisingly close. It ends at Wall Street. In 1650, there was no street there yet, just a wooden palisade, a wall, built to protect the city. But here's the twist. It wasn't built to keep out the Native Americans. It was built to keep out the English. The English in New England and Virginia were encroaching, and the Dutch were terrified of an invasion. You see African slaves building the wall. This is a crucial part of the story. The Dutch West India Company owned enslaved people, but they had a weird status, half freedom. They could own land and marry, but they had to pay a tribute to the company. They lived in a settlement just north of the wall, acting as a buffer zone. By 1 p.m., you are hungry. You head to a tavern. New Amsterdam had a tavern for every 12 buildings. That is an insane ratio. It was a town of sailors, soldiers, and traders who had nothing to do but drink. You enter a dark, smoky room. Maybe the Stad Huis Tavern. You aren't eating a hamburger. You are eating hutspot, a stew of carrots, onions, and meat, or maybe oysters. The harbor was so full of oysters that they were the size of dinner plates. You wash it down with beer or brandy. The tavern is loud. A group of English sailors is arguing with a Dutch fur trader. A Lenape man is trading wampum, shell beads, for a metal knife. This is the friction of the frontier. By 3 p.m., you head to the canal. Yes, a canal. The Dutch missed home, so they dug a canal right through the middle of Manhattan. It was called the Herengracht, Gentleman's Canal. Today, we call it Broad Street. In 1650, it was a muddy ditch filled with garbage, but the wealthier merchants built their houses facing it, trying to pretend they were in Amsterdam. They built stoops, raised front porches, so they could sit outside and smoke pipes without getting their feet muddy. This is where the American stoop culture comes from. At 5 p.m., the wind picks up off the harbour. The windmills start turning. There was a massive windmill near the fort to grind grain. It dominates the skyline. You walk past the weigh house on the dock. All goods had to be weighed and taxed here. Stuyvesant was obsessed with taxes. If you smuggled a single beaver skin, he would fine you. But smuggling was the national sport. Everyone was doing it. By 7 p.m., the sun sets over the Hudson River, or the North River as the Dutch called it. The town goes dark. There are no streetlights, but the night watch, the rattle watch, comes out. These men walked the streets carrying wooden rattles to scare off thieves and announce the time. 9 o'clock and all is well, they shout in Dutch. But usually, all was not well. Drunken sailors would brawl in the streets, tumbling out of taverns. Stuyvesant even tried to impose a curfew on the taverns, but the tavern keepers just ignored him. By 9 p.m., you are back in your house. It's cold. You huddle around the fireplace. The chimney is wide because the Dutch loved massive hearths. You sleep in a bed built into the wall to save space. Outside, you hear the howling of wolves. Yes, wolves. In 1650, wolves still roamed Manhattan north of Wall Street. It's a reminder that this city was barely clinging to the edge of a vast wild continent. Lying there in the dark, listening to the rattle watch and the distant wolves, you realize that this muddy village is doomed. The English are coming. In just 14 years, 4 English frigates will sail into the harbour. Stuyvesant will want to fight, but the townspeople, sick of his taxes and rules, will refuse to load the cannons. They will surrender without firing a shot. New Amsterdam will become New York. But the DNA of the city was already set right here in the mud of 1650. The diversity, the obsession with trade, the hustle, the chaotic mix of languages, and the attitude that making money was more important than following rules. That was all Dutch. The English would take the land, but the Dutch had already built the soul of the city. As you drift off to sleep, you are sleeping in the seed of the greatest metropolis on earth.